Hey everybody, how's it going? I clicked this button that applied my last broadcast stream settings. So I just want to make sure that this is good to go before we, so let me just look real quick. My last one was Amazon Gurus and Crypto Schemes. So I definitely don't want that to be the title while I'm here with Brij. I did not ever have that setting before. So you guys bear with me real quick and then we're going to get started. I'm just going to double check that everything came through okay on this live stream. Yes. Okay. Good. It is proper. Good. I've never seen that happen before. It like applied my last stream settings on the window that popped up. So everyone, hello. How are you doing? Thank you for bearing with me there while I was checking that. I am here with my friend Brij from SellerApp. And you guys, I have been a user and member of SellerApp for I don't know how many years now. How many years has it been? Yeah, you guys just had your 4-year anniversary, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And I believe I've been with you guys since you started, and it's been a lot of fun. You guys, if you've ever gotten a listing from me, you know I use SellerApp's tools in my keyword research. I use their product description editor. I use their tools in a lot of my training. But today, Brij is joining me to talk about one of their newer tools, which helps with a problem that all of us have. And that is sifting through the data and making sense of all the data from our PPC campaigns. Did I say that okay? Am I right on that, right? Everybody, Brij was telling me earlier when we first got on the call, before we hit the record button, that something that he sees across the board is that people really have they don't have an IT background, and they don't have a data science background. They kind of have a hard time with making sense of all the data that comes out of their PPC. And I also see that on client calls. In fact, today I had 3 coaching calls this morning, and 2 of the 3 of my coaching calls were on PPC. So, that's just something that people realize that they have to master, and they also really struggle with. So it's really great when we have tools that can help us make sense of the data. So we want you guys to stick around today and check out, we're going to do a demo today on how to kind of automate your PPC, how to kind of see how to make sense of the data, how you can use a tool to make sense of the data for you. But before we get into that, Brij, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Amy, for having me on the call. And this is really amazing that when the user of a SellerApp writes and invite us to be on the call, right? And that's really amazing. And before we recorded this call, we were talking about that how we got introduced initially, right? So when there was one user. So for us, it's always like for last 4 years, we always worked as closely as we can with our users, right? And I was talking to one of our users, and he mentioned that there is someone, they are doing the personal coaching, and in their master class, they mentioned about the SellerApp product description editor. And I was like intrigued that, okay, our tool has reached to that position where people are referring it in their courses. And I try to understand who the person is, what type of courses they do. And that's how I connected to Amy. And we were talking that, okay, this has taken us to a completely different stage where our users who knowingly, unknowingly was promoting SellerApp, and now we know each other, we know how things works, and now Amy has invited us to be on the part of her amazing video, or the podcast, I would say, right? And to talk to everybody, to the larger audience now. Thanks, Amy, for this.
Yeah, no problem. And you guys, just like some of our bigger software tools like Helium 10, like Zon Guru, there's a lot of really great tool suites out there. And we've done a lot of cool tool reviews on many of these software suites. And as you guys know, as our listeners know, it's so great to see you guys here as well. Thank you for saying hello. Christina, you're cracking me up. You said, what's PPC? I love it. Pay-per-click advertising.
Pay-per-click advertising, yeah.
But
and then that's good that people people in general Amazon space, they understand PPC, right? But if you go outside Amazon and Google, you will talk about paper impression, paper orders, paper conversions. There are a lot more things to wrap around your head and come up with something which you can probably interpret it and use in your what do you say, strategies which you want to apply for the business.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true. So, we do these tool reviews where we show a lot of different tools and all of that, but what we choose to focus on is just one aspect of your tool. So today we're focused on your PPC automation, your automation tool, which I think that's so cool. But I do want to say that for every one of these tools that we do a cool tool review on, you guys, there are so many cool aspects. Like there's so many different things. My favorite things about SellerApp, the things that I use every day, I use their keyword research because they have a way of presenting data in a different way. So if you, and we're going to give you guys a free offer today where you can try these tools for free. So stick around for that. But my favorite tool that you guys have is your keyword research tool. And the reason is because of the way you present data. So when I reverse search competitors in your keyword research tool, I like that it shows me what your competitors are true for and what they're false for. Yeah. And then I can easily do a side-by-side comparison and see what's missing and what's not. It's really just a neat way to present the data. And that's what it is about all of these tools is all of these tools kind of have the same data. They pull the same data, but it's the way that they present it, which is how a user is going to be attracted to that tool, right? So I love the keyword research tool because of that. It presents data in a way that makes sense to me. And so I'm excited to see a little bit more. I've seen a little bit of your PPC tool when you guys first launched it, and I know it's come a long way since then. So I'm excited to see today what you guys are doing in PPC and how we can use the way your data is presented to kind of operationalize it, systemize it, and make PPC a little bit easier. So great to have you guys here. And without further ado, I say we get into it. What do you think?
Yeah, perfect. Let's do it, right? Before I share my screen and walk you through what we do, right? So let's think it in this way, right? So whenever we talk about any sort of data, right? And it's not about when we are talking about data in a scale. Any time when we talk about the data, whatever small it is, we have to look from a three perspective, right? So when we talk about a business or a strategy, we have to break it down when you call about your research part. So what Emmy, you just mentioned about is the keyword research, right? So that is the most important factor when it comes to probably your listings, defining the strategy, the right keywords which you are going to use for your PPC when you are creating your manual campaigns, right? So that research part. Second part, which we generally focus on, is your optimization and probably the automation included in one bucket, right? So where you have to make sure once you do the research, right, you have to move things to the next bucket where you optimize and make the research continuously, right? And third part, which we generally focus is on monitoring, right? So once you do your research, while you want to make sure that the things which or the strategies which you are defining that are working, right? And there are key things for this. Let's say your keyword monitoring, how many orders you are getting, what is your typical ROS, what is your overall account level ACOS, right? So all of these things has to be considered. So in this call or in this podcast, we will majorly focus on the mid section where we are going to talk about the optimization, where we are going to talk about how we can make our life easier when we are dealing with this nuance of data and what all things goes behind it, right? So it's very easy to say, okay, we get the keywords, now what needs to be done next, right? But the whole engineering goes behind that, finding those keywords which are right for your product, right? So I will try to explain as best I can in terms of a layman term, so that it's become easier for the broader audience to understand what is the complexity goes and what they have to do next to make sure that they they use things in the right way, so that they make sure that the campaigns and the structures and the strategies which they put in are all optimized, right? So let me quickly share the screen and you let me know if you can see it. Sure, don't show me this again.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'll just kind of comment on that it is so important that we have the right keywords to begin with. because, so I can see your screen now. It's so important to have the right keywords and the right listing, because it determines your placement. So all of you guys who want to get your ads on the top of page 1 for PPC, you need to make sure that your listing is relevant for those keywords, and that you're setting up your foundation in the right way. And that's what Bridge was talking about when he says, hey, you need to make sure you're doing your keyword research and that everything is correct. Because if you start your listing and everything from the wrong keyword, and now you're trying to target those keywords in your PPC campaigns, or you're trying to target the right keywords, but your listing's not relevant for them, you're not going to get results. This tool is not going to help you because you're going to still be stuck, right? So we want to make sure, as Bridge was saying, that we set up the right foundation so that we can utilize tools like this to make sense of the data, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, right? And so let's look at the 3 segments, right? So the research, where it goes for your keyword research and your reverse ASIN, the product research. Probably that's the part where you can look into. But let's dive deep into the midsection, where we are saying that we are assuming here that everyone of us has done that research right. They have some sort of campaigns which are running, and you have collected some kind of data probably for a couple of weeks, and things starts from there, right? So once you connect your account, what we do that we pull in data for last 60 days, which is very standard with all tools, right? Once we pull in this data, you will see that we will analyze all of these individual search terms, right? And let's say if there is an account which is of probably making $5,000 or somewhere north of $5, $6, $7, $10,000, definitely they will have somewhere 1,000 odd search terms, right? And each of these search terms behaves differently based on the type of products you have targeted in your ad groups, right? So if you look at when we talk about the campaign structure on Amazon, so there is a campaign, ad group, and ad group level you can define the products and the targets as in keywords, right? So everything is granular up to your when it comes to the defining targets, it's really granular up to ad group, and after that there are the keywords and search terms, right? So you bid for a search term, you bid for a keyword, but you pay for a search term, right? So your bids is different from what you are paying for each individual search term, right? And that's again defined based on the match type which you are using, whether it's exact, broad, and phrase, right? So what we do here, we sync in all the data, we analyze all this data, and we come up with the different models for based on the type of account you have, right? So let's say if you are in a phase where you are launching a product, right? So definitely you are okay probably spending little more and going up to somewhere 80-90% of a cost, right? But let's say on the other hand, if you are a seller who is already doing at its stage where you want to focus on the profits, right? So you are probably looking for somewhere 10 to 20, 25% or 30% a cost based on the margin you have the product and what type of product you are selling it. So we build all of these different models. So what you can do once you log in, you click on your calculate ROI. So this is amazing based on the type of a seller you are, whether you are looking launch, growth, and mature. You can decide your monthly ad budget, put in your cost of goods so that we can understand what is the margin you are having and what is the target ACOS you want to set, right? And if you don't set it, that is still fine. We will do the category median and we look at your account level performance so far, and we will always try to optimize. So the whole objective of each of these 2 features which we will be talking today, insights and the automation, is to make sure that we are optimizing your campaigns towards the goal, right? And you define the goal. If you don't define the goal, obviously it's about making more profits and revenue, right? So that's where our whole focus goes, right? We pull in keywords, we analyze all of these data, we build the different models, right? And once we build these different models, there is different layers when it comes to data. So if you talk in terms of more technical, there are different data sets. There is a different ETL which will pull in data. There are different snowflakes, BI, Looker, and all of these things are different. So each of these is a different data set, right? And when we try to build a visualization layer on top of it, what we do, we look at these individual keywords. We do at one level above, we look at your account level performances, your product level performances. We look at the category level performances, and we look at overall account at Amazon level performance. So when we define Amazon level performances, there are external factors get involved. Let's say your seasonality, if there is some sort of aggressive promotion run by competitors, in which category you are. Let's say your protein, whey protein related categories are generally more competitive, right? Compared to your books, or probably let's say twice, right? So we look in all of these external factors and we set benchmark at each different level, right? So when I say we look at benchmark, so let's say we look at your individual product. Let's say if you have a mix campaigns where you are targeting launch product, whether you are targeting your growth product, both in the same advertisement account, right? So your benchmarks will be defined based on the type of product you are targeting, right? And we bucket them in these individual keywords into 5 or 6 different buckets, right? So one bucket is definitely about negative keywords. So we look at the patterns, we look at the trends, we analyze these keywords into different ad group and different campaigns, and we say, look, sir, look, boss, these are the keywords which are tending towards negative, right? So let's say this is one of the demo account which we have.
So just so I'm getting this right, Brish,
Mhm,
what's
mhm.
happening here is you're taking all of my PPC campaigns, right?
Right.
Everything that is in my Amazon PPC manager, and you're analyzing all of the keywords across all of my campaigns and targeting types. And then here in this Insights tab is where you're kind of giving some suggestions for my review. So what I'm looking at here is a list of potential negative keywords
Right.
for me to be able to mark them. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't know what negative keywords are.
Right.
So
Right.
negative keywords are, this allows you to isolate one keyword inside of your campaign so that Amazon doesn't show your ad for that keyword. So for example, this second one here that Bridge has, you have one here that, let's look at the fourth keyword, mushroom tea organic, and it shows the campaign name and the ad group name, and it's a broad match keyword, and it's had 1,000 impressions during this time. It's had 4 clicks. I've spent a lot of money on it, but I've gotten no orders.
No sales. Yeah.
So, well, not a lot of money, only $6, depending on
Right.
how long this
You
is.
just sorted based on probably 0 orders. So this is a demo account. So you will see different data. So let's say this we have sorted according.
Yeah. So like, for example, if I wanted to negative exact match that term, I could do that right from this dashboard. So what you're doing is summarizing all of my keywords that are good, that are potential candidates to negative match.
Right.
And then when we negative match a keyword inside of a campaign, what it does is it focuses the rest of that campaign on all those good keywords that we want to do. And it tells the ad, hey, don't show up for mushroom tea. That's too broad. It's not converting for me. But it still keeps that campaign running, and it still discovers other keywords from that broad term.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking at here is the negative. But what you're trying to say is that it still requires a human mind, because you might have a keyword that, you might be doing something seasonally or something like that.
Right.
And so you may not want to mark that keyword negative. So you're helping us automate the process of identifying potential negative keywords. And then what we can do is go through the list of data and then mark those that we want to mark negative right from here.
Right. So here is the deal, right? So if you look at what we have seen and observed, that we get a lot of accounts which probably have structured their campaigns in a different way, right? So we don't want to automate this. So there is an automation piece which we will talk probably the second part of this. But in the first part, we want to make sure that you look at your keywords together and you optimize them, right? So when you mentioned about these are the keywords you don't want to show impression, rest of the keywords can work. So based on the input you give to the system, so it works in this way. So there is a model, there is a feedback loop, right? So let's say if you mark something negative, it will stop showing your ads for these keywords, right? If you ignore this, so there is another option. Let's say if you ignore this, what will happen? We will take this as a mandate from your side that you have taken this conscious decision of not marking or not taking the action on this keyword, right? And all the parameters based on which these keywords has been filtered, your machine or your algorithms will become smarter, right? So the next set of insights which will generate will consider all the actions which you have taken on the platform. And it's not just the negative ones, but all of these, right? Whether it's negative, your positive, your keyword harvesting, basically your auto to manual, your targeting improvements, all of these will considered into all the actions, the way so look at it in this way, right? So the more you interact with the platform, it will become more smarter, and the next time you will get the much better insights, right? So
Got it.
platform
So based on how I choose, which ones I choose to mark negative, or which ones I choose to add, or which ones, the
right.
changes that I make, you guys are taking that data and you're making your platform smarter so that
Mhm.
it kind of knows what to recommend next time. It knows
Right.
more kind of what I'm looking to do with those campaigns.
Right, that's exactly spot on, right? And this smartness is configured at an individual user level. So it's not the machine at top level is becoming smarter, but machine is becoming smarter, or these algorithm is becoming smarter for each individual account, right? So it's irrespective of whether your account is a small, or if it's a big seller, or if it's a mid-sized seller, or in which category he is selling, your algorithms will become smarter next time whenever it comes to suggesting you anything, right? As an account owner, or as a business, or the strategy, right?
Got it. And then so you have negative keywords here. I understand that. What are
Mhm.
positive keywords? Like what's that all about?
Right. So positive ones are the one which are performing for you, right? So when we initially mentioned about your research, whether when you are doing the data collection, or basically the research part, the other one is optimization, third one is monitoring, right? So monitoring is the key thing, because these are the keywords which are working for you, right? And or look at it in this way, these are the keywords which have worked for you at current, or when these insights were generated, right? So I want to make sure that next time, or whenever, let's say, something happens at my account level, right? If, let's say, my sales dip, or if my competitor has started promoting aggressively, right? So these will definitely directly affect my organic ranks, right? So I want to make sure that all of these keywords I am tracking, and I am tracking the visibility perspective, right? So I track all of these keywords, and I understand what are the positions for these positive keywords, right? So this gives you then indicator, if my sales dips, if it's a function of something happened externally, let's say your seasonality has affected, or competitor has started running ads, or is it because of the overall Amazon, or overall trend has gone down, right? So probably look at it in this way, let's say face mask, right? So like 6 months back, or probably a year back, face mask was like high in trends, but if you look at now, the face mask trend itself has gone down. So even if you are on a position one, if you see dip in sales, it means that Amazon overall trend has gone down. So you can connect the dots if you are tracking your metrics, right? So we show you the keywords where we suggest you make sure that tracking is enabled, so that if something goes wrong, or if something becomes positive as well, right? So you make sure you will track them, and you can connect the dots, that what is the reason for this change, when it comes to your revenue, when it comes to your overall performance of the account.
Got it. Yeah, and so this I think is another thing that sometimes people aren't really sure what to do, right? They have performing keywords, but sometimes they'll panic because their campaign is spending too much. So instead of optimizing or negative matching the underperforming keywords, they'll pause the whole campaign and start a new campaign, which is like one of the worst things you can do because when you have keywords
Right.
performing in a campaign, and
Mhm.
you start a new campaign, those same keywords will not necessarily perform in another
Right.
campaign the
Right.
same way that they did in the first one. So whenever I see people do that, I'm like, no, what are you doing? So we really want to not only track the keywords that aren't doing well for us and either negative match them or lower the bid
Mhm.
or optimize them, but
Right.
we also want to track the keywords that are doing really well for us so that we can look and see, maybe I need to put a higher bid on that keyword.
Right.
If it's at a low A cost and I have ability to improve, maybe I want to create a new type of campaign with that keyword. Maybe if it's
Right.
performing really well as an exact match, I leave it. But maybe if I tried it as a phrase match, I might get even more Maybe if I start with a broad match, and that broad match, I just keep getting conversions for the same version of a phrase or an exact, then I want to kind of convert some of those keywords over. So do you guys have a way, like, for example, obviously you've got a track keyword thing here, which is where I can add those keywords to my keyword tracker inside of SellerApp's, so I can track my ranks on those keywords, which is really great. But what else can I do? Can I add these keywords to another campaign type from here? What else can I do on this positive keyword screen?
Right. So what happens? This is a bucket which we define, which we have taken out from your search term, which are performing for you, right? So to add keywords in a different campaign, there is another set of bucket we have defined. So if you go to auto to manual, which is mostly a keyword harvesting, so it will pick the keywords which are performing in your automatic campaign. And we suggest you move them into the manual campaign so that you can have more control in terms of build, in terms of how you want to structure your campaign, which all keywords you want to club together in the ad group and different levels, right? So this is the one which is again positive keywords from the automatic campaign, which you can move into manual, where you can have more controls over it.
Got it. So you're just showing the keywords in the positive keywords tab that we might want to track, that we might want to change the bids for. And then what you're also doing is showing in the auto to manual screen, the auto to manual tab, what kind of keywords I might want to track more manually or add to a manual campaign. And then I see this lovely target improvement tab. What's that all about?
Right. So target improvement is again, I think you have explained, I think you have gone through this before. So you have explained most of this in your initial, when you were explaining about the positive keywords, right? So these are the keywords which are into a different match type. When it comes to, we have seen like with a lot of sellers, they generally put the different match type into the same ad group, right? And that's become very messy. At one point of time for them to optimize after that, right? So because some of these keywords are performing, some of them are not performing, so it's a wrong structure of the campaign, right? So what we do in this case is we make sure we look at the search term and we look at the individual keywords which you have defined in the different match type, right? And we so let's say if you have defined something in a broad, so we will say that okay, you move this because it is performing, you move this to a phrase, so that instead of having a broader search term, as in broader scope in terms of finding the different search terms, you narrow it down to a phrase. And once we observe the phrase match type for a couple of time, we will suggest you move it to the exact one, right? So what will happen eventually, you will have your campaigns which are highly optimized, and you have the same, all the keywords which you have in those campaigns or those ad groups, basically all of them are performing, right? So if you look at, let's say in this case, chocolate tea, which was defined as a phrase, based on the performance data which we have seen at your level, at your account level, and overall category level, we suggest you move this to exact, right? In the same way, you will see some keywords which are defined in the broad phase match type, and you can do all sort of, let's say, contain broad. Right? So you will see them to be defined to phrase, right? So we observe these keywords for some time, and after that we suggest you move into the different match types and where you are getting maximum conversions overall.
And Prisha, have you ever seen how some people only target exact match? I mean, I think that's a huge mistake. When you're first launching your product, I think it's very smart to start with exact match, a few very targeted exact match keywords, but make sure they're medium to long tail, not broad keywords for exact match, because that's not going to work well for you. But I think it's so important for people to understand that they need to sometimes try different match types, because sometimes a phrase will convert better at a lower cost than a exact match. And sometimes a broad match will convert better at a lower cost than an exact match or a phrase match. So it's so important to take these keywords And then you have to actually look at the keyword phrase itself and see if it is more of something that people type in broadly. If people aren't just generally going to search for white t-shirt, right? They're going to search for white t-shirt for men or white t-shirt for women. So we wouldn't want to do white t-shirt as an exact match. However, if your product is truly just a pack of white t-shirts, an exact match of white t-shirt might convert well for you. So you really got to try all these different match types. I love that you're identifying this for them and making it very easy to do that.
Right. And even if you look at, let's say, the keywords like mushroom tea, right, which you have defined in broad. So you never know what customer is searching for when it comes to mushroom tea, right? So probably they can search for mushroom tea pack of 6, right? Or maybe something else, right? Maybe green mushroom tea or tulsi mixed mushroom tea. So you never know what will convert for you, right? So you rightly said that it's wrong when people only start with exact match type. But again, comes from your research, what you have done for the primary keywords, the few for which you always want to make sure that you will run them in the exact match type, right?
Got it. So this Insights tab is really, really cool, but I don't want us to run out of time in our hour to go over some of the other stuff. So I can see you've got a bid optimization tab,
right?
You've got a positive ASINs tab. I'm guessing your bid optimization is just helping to change those bids for those keywords that might be able to perform better if you were to raise or lower the bid, right? So you're automating
right.
it?
So exactly. So the bid optimization currently in this under Insights is mostly the audit part of your all keywords which we look at, right? And positive ASINs. Let me quickly walk through positive ASINs, right? So this comes from your all PAT campaigns, right? So in PAT you are targeting individual ASINs, and we pick the key ASINs which are working for you, and we say that you start increasing your bids or your target for the other set of ASINs which you are doing, right? And the negative ones are the ones which are not performing for you. You mark them negative, right? So the second interesting part, because we are a little short of time, your automation comes where you give full control to SellerApp to run the all of these manual things which you are doing in your optimization phase, right, through Insights. But Insights will still run for you, because we want to make sure that look at it in this way, right? Insights are the early trends for you to pick, right, and take the action. Automation is the boundary which you have defined. Let's say you say that, okay, I want to make sure that my campaigns start at 9 in the morning and goes up to 6, and I want to spend 80% of my budget in that time, right? So these are the part of your automation where you have defined the boundary and you want to make sure that your everything which you define runs under those parameters, right?
So would you recommend that people don't start automation because they're creating rules? So would you recommend that they first kind of use the Insights for a few weeks so that they kind of get an idea of where they're going and what's performing and what's doing better, and then they can kind of identify those rules and start automation?
I would say yes, but look at it this way. So if you want to have more control with you, make sure that you use Insights for your all optimization. If you are an advanced seller where you understand all the complexity which goes in the automation, because automation is something which you have defined and it will run. You say you start at 9, it will start at 9, right? It will not bother about starting at 8:30 or 8, right? But when you go through the Insights, you will understand all of these early trends. So that's a smaller difference when it comes to Insights and rules. So let me quickly walk you through one of the rules, right? So let's say you define one of the custom rule. Let's say create new rule. All right. Let's say create from blank, and you look at. We could choose from template side. So
Raja says that this is an informative session. Thank you, Raja. And Susan says automation is cool. And Christina says this looks serious.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. So when it comes to all of this complexity of data, right? So it's really, so even when we discuss, when we are thinking about that, what needs to be done, how we want to make sure that it's easier for customers to look at and use this data, right? So that point of time, we also have a lot of these debates and discussions internally. Do we want to really make this complex, right? And then there are the arguments at the other side. If you are not making, or if you are not providing all of these features, it's going to be really tough overall for people to use it in an optimal way, right? So let's say, when we talk about day parting, it's a very uh, it's a very tough concept when it comes to how you want to strategize there, right? And if you explain it to somebody, it's easier, right? You start your campaign at 9, run it through 80% of your budget you exhaust from 9 to 6. But who decides that 9 to 6 is your maximum budget is going to be spent, right? So these are like complexity when it comes to dealing with data.
Yeah, which is why it's sometimes smarter to just get to know your product, your campaigns, your best performing keywords, and then kind of set up some of those goals. And then you can kind of use some of these rules to further automate it. You're already automating your campaign optimization through utilizing the insights and getting some help. But now
Right.
this is like the advanced version. And you guys definitely stick around, because we have a offer for 2 months free of SellerApp's entire suite. So you're going to get to try this. You're going to get to just really get in there and try all of their tools, all their keyword tools, everything that they have. It's really, really good. They have a really good dashboard to show you your sales, all that stuff. So anyway, let's create a fun rule. Now, day parting is something that you guys might have heard of. That's what Breeze is talking about here. When he says you can set up a rule so that your PPC only runs from 8 p.m. until 9 a.m. in the morning. Maybe your product is an after work. People come home from work and they're buying your product, right? Maybe that's your product, right? Yeah. And you know that during the day, you're just wasting clicks. You're not getting sales.
Right.
And so you could set up a rule to automate your campaigns and have them only run at night, to have them automatically turn on starting at 8 p.m. Central Time and going until 4 a.m. in the morning. Maybe you have a gaming product.
And it's not just with the day parting, right? So when it comes to defining your rule, there are a set of templates which you can use. So let's say if I say I want to do the money saver template, right? So what money saver template will help you is it will give you the set of parameters which you want to choose. So let's say you say that whenever, for any given search term, whenever my clicks increases 10, right, and there is no conversion, there is 0 order conversion, right? And if my spend is, let's say, less than or greater than $10, right? So you take this action, pause this keyword, or probably mark it negative, right? And then you can set the exceptions again. So you say that, okay, I want to take this action except for the my brand keywords, right? And you say that, okay, this is my brand keyword. Let's say whatever, ME or amazing at home is my brand keyword, or bridge is my brand keyword, right? So you take the exceptions, you say this is what you want to do, and this flexibility is provided across all set of parameters, whether it comes to impression, clicks, CTR, conversions, all of that, right? And then day parting is definitely there. Then there is advanced rule which you can define on bids. So you say during the peak hours, let's say 9 to 6, I want to check every half an hour or every 1 hour, that time you define. And you say, I always want to bid what Amazon is suggesting, right? So I always want to make sure that I'm on among the top bidders, so that my ads slots are always filled with the brand or the product which I want to target. So those kind of conditions you can define, and you can run your automation. So you take your hands out of the execution, you give control to machines. Basically, in this case, is you give control more to SellerApp, and you say that you run the show. There is insights where you take control at your side, and you say that, okay, these are the insights. I want to make sure that I am looking into each individual keywords and taking actions from there. So both works. So, but what we suggest is you optimize your campaigns first with the insights, and based on, once you have a decent optimization, you set the rules, right? And you keep on, probably every alternate day or every week, once you keep on looking the insights. If you pick any early trends in terms of negative, positive, bid changes, or in your automatic campaigns, wherever you want to.
Cool. All right. Well, did you want to show us an example of how to set up a rule inside of the automation tool?
Sure, just give me a minute. Let me share my screen.
And I want to hear from you guys. Well, Birj is bringing up his screen. I want to hear from you guys about what your biggest struggles are with PPC. Like what are you currently using? What are you currently doing? Love to hear from you about that. Maybe you're not using PPC at all. Who knows? But would love to hear from you guys. Throw your stuff in the comments. And yeah, we'll go through this last rules section to kind of show you how you can take this to an advanced level. And then we're going to give you guys an offer for 2 months free. So stick around for that.
Just give me a minute. Let me just quickly load the screen.
Yeah.
Do you guys see my screen?
Not yet. I think I don't have the ability to show it on the.
Okay. So let me unshare from my side and share it again.
Okay.
So it shows me I'm sharing screen. I don't know what is.
I'm not sure. For some reason, I don't see it as an option to add it. So.
So do you see?
Oh, there it is.
No?
Now
Yeah.
I see it. Yep. So I'm going to show on screen, and there we go. Here we are. All right, you guys. I'm going to show this offer code, but we're walking through this last rule. So you have templates and Blake. How does that work?
Right. So a blank is where you know based on which parameters you want to set. Templates is where we have defined our own templates, right? Based on some standard parameters. Let's say your clicks is more than 10, your ACOS is more than whatever you have defined. Let's say 80% ACOS, 0 order conversions. So you take this action, right? So you let's say mark the campaign. You mark the keyword negative. You just need to select for which campaigns you want to run these rules. So it's in that way it is easier for you to take action. And create from blank, you will get the blank template. So let me just see. I should have some blank templates already. Oh, okay. This is different. Let me switch to demo account. Sure, I'm not sure whether there is any deployment at this time because it's taking a little time for me to load.
While it's loading, what's your product analysis? What is that?
So this one, okay. Let me just
I'm just
see
curious.
if
I'm getting distracted. Okay. Look at me. I'm like seeing all this fun stuff that I can play with. I'm like, what's
no,
that?
no. That's something where most of people ask me, okay, what it is. So when I'm giving them the demo for something else, probably so you're the campaign manager, it's a very obvious question. So product analysis, what it does is it's just a roll up everything to your product, individual ASINs level, right? So let's say you are running ads on 10 ASINs, and all of these ASIN is a part of your different ad groups, right? Or different campaigns. So what we will do, we will roll up all your data to a product level, and you can see all your impression, sales, ACOS, all these conversions to a product, right? So let's say this particular ASIN, this is part of 2 campaigns.
Got it. Okay, so you're
and
showing
you can
that
see, yeah,
this
at a single
particular
view.
ASIN is converting well for you across 2 different campaigns.
Exactly.
Got it.
So you can
just
decide what
roll
is going wrong in your other campaign versus the current one, right? So you can just roll it up and you can see that.
Cool. Got it. Thanks for showing me that.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to try creating a rule.
Sure, let me just try again, creating a rule. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I was right. There was some deployment happening at that point of time. So let's say this is my one of the testing rule we created in the demo account, right? And the good thing is when you create account with SellerApp, you will get the demo account attached to all of your profiles. Even if you have not connected PPC, you will get demo account, and you can play around with the demo account. You can set up the rule, you can understand, but definitely it will not run, right? Because you don't have PPC connected with SellerApp, but you can understand how the data look, what are the things you can do, and then you can connect your account and you can start using it. And there is one more thing which I want to bring in notice. When you set the automation rules, right, you get two options. If you are confident that the rule which you are setting, you want to take it forward directly live, you can decide that. If you want our system to analyze it, you can send it for review. So when you send it for review, what happens, we look at the parameters based on which you have defined, and either approve or disapprove these rules, right? So let's say this rule is not approved because of there is some mismatch which look at it in this way. Let's say if you define a two contradictory metrics, you say that my order goes above this and ACOS also increases, so this will not happen. If you are getting orders, your ACOS ideally will also be in relative numbers, right? So if you have a contradictory rules, it will not approve. But if you have rule, if your rules uh, are bound to work in a right way, it will get enabled, right? So once you let's say once you say that okay, I want to set a rule, you select the campaigns for which you want to define, you select the parameters based on which you want to define. Let's look at this way.
Got it.
Okay.
And I like that you guys are checking behind us. So if
Mhm.
I create a rule, it's kind of like I'm submitting it, but you're just double checking it because you would not want us, spending too much or something like that. And so you want us to be able to use automation rules, but you also want to help us along the way so that we're doing it in a way that's beneficial for us.
Right. So what happens that when you when you select or when you choose an option to send it for the review, we do the dry run on your account and we see how many of these conditions are mismatched. So if we see there is a certain thresholds and it keeps on varying based on based on the data which we put into the system. If we see there is a threshold higher than those mismatches, we disapprove those rules and we send you an email saying that this is the reason for your disapproval. You can change it and you can resend it for approval.
Got it.
So let's say you select the type of campaigns you want to target, manual, automatic, all manual, enabled, whatever, right? You set the conditions. These are your different conditions: CTR, ROS, CBR, CPC. You select whether it's greater than, less than, or equal to, whatever is that. If you want to set a multiple blocks, you can set up the multiple blocks, let's say with different and ors, right? And you
So if I
select
have greater than 2 orders and my ACOS is lower than a certain percent, I could increase my bids or something, right?
right, something, yeah. And you say that increase it up to maximum of, and you can always have the ceiling functions, right? So when you say, let's say this is a mark negative, but when you say you want to increase up to, and you define that up to what maximum you want to go, right? So you don't want to, let's say that okay, I want to bid up to $10 for a click, right? So you decide what is your maximum limit, and you can decide at what functions you want to run. So you don't want to say that okay, increase from $2 to $4 immediately, right? So you say that I want to make sure that gradually increase it, so that there is no price war. So let's say what can happen that let's say if your competitor is also using some sort of automation tool, and he says that whenever Amazon suggested bid is higher than my current bid, you increase it to Amazon bid, right? And let's say you set the same rule. So what will happen? There will be always a price war, and you will always bid higher for the keywords which ideally you should not have bid that much. Right? So you can define your function that okay, increase in steps of 5%. Right? So you are not
Right.
competing with another advertiser who is doing the same thing for the probably at a higher bid, right? Let's say 10% or 20% at a step offering.
I love that because, when I'm doing optimization sessions with people and I have them, optimize their ACOS by sometimes like lowering their bid 10% at a time. I don't want them to just cut the bid off, like,
Right.
cut it way down, because if that keyword is performing, we just want to slowly
Exactly.
lower the bid, because a lot of times
Exactly.
we can still maintain our position. So
Right.
in this way, we can set up a rule that says, okay, I'm just going to lower it 10% at a time or 5% at a time whenever it reaches this threshold. So again, I think the smart thing for people to do is just really get to know their campaigns, get to know what's performing, kind of get through the all the other insights that you provide. And then once they kind of have a thesis about what's happening in their various campaigns, and they have a way that they're regularly optimizing those bids, then they can come in here and set up rules to do that for them.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Right.
Perfect.
And these are the exclusion sections where you say that, okay, these are my brand keywords, I don't want to take any action. You say that, okay, whether it's a contains or exact match. And the interesting thing is you define the frequency at which you want to run these rules, right? So you say that on weekends, I am with my families, I don't want to pay my, let's say, a whole day looking at my campaigns or optimizing them. You set those configurable rules on Saturdays and Sundays, and automation will take care of it, right? Or probably you look at it in this way. Let's say there is some Black Friday sale or some other, let's say you are doing some sort of promotional lightning deal, right? And you want to make sure that during lightning deals, I am bidding high so that my lightning deal is also giving me conversions. My ads are giving me conversions, and I am running lightning deal on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So you define the days of the week when you want to run these campaigns, these automation rules, and you set it, and they will work for you.
Got it. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Bridget. I think this is very, very helpful. There's a lot that people can do with this. This is a really great way to look at the data in your campaign manager to understand what you could do with your bids. And I know that you guys at SellerApp are really good about training. That's something that you pride yourselves on. It's something that people can expect. So if you guys take advantage of this offer today, and I'll just hide our screen for now while we wrap up. If you guys take advantage of this offer today, you can always reach out to the folks at SellerApp, and they will help you to get onboarded. They want to make sure that you're understanding how to best use the tools and asking any questions. And just like Bridge pointed out, if you set up a rule, they're going to review it. They're going to help you with that. So take advantage of that. I think it'll be really, really great. And thank you so much for showing us this cool tool today. I hope people get out there and take advantage of it. I know, the other half of our audience that's asleep right now will be waking up and checking it out as well. So thank you so much, Bridge, for being here today. And thank you everyone out there for listening and for tuning in and for just talking with us while we're here. And any follow-up questions that you have, you can try out SellerApp using our coupon code here. And then you can always reach out, and these guys are great about getting back with you. And Bridge, how should these folks find you guys? How should they find you in your communities? What's a great way for them to keep in touch with SellerApp?
So it's very simple, right? So you search for anything related to Amazon space, you will definitely find sellerapp.com in the Google search results, right? And when you reach sellerapp.com, there is a chat box on the right side. You can always message us there. If that does not work for you, you can drop us email cs@sellerapp.com or support@sellerapp.com. So we are very responsive. If it comes to the email or the Facebook or anywhere, right? So you can reach to us on any channel. You will get, I'm 100% sure you will get a resolution for your problems. If it falls into our scope, we will do it. If that does not fall into our scope, probably we need to get our partners, let's say Emmy, or if you have problem with the sourcing, we need to get with Alibaba. We will help you to do that, right? So we make sure that that's the objective of SellerApp, right? So we make sure that we grow with customers, so that's and enable sellers with data, right? So that's our objective, and that's where we are working at.
Well, thank you so much, Brish, for taking the time today to be with us and to walk us through this cool tool. Thanks, everybody, for listening. You guys, today on the Seller Roundtable, in 1 hour on the Seller Roundtable, you can go to sellerroundtable.com/live to join us live in the Zoom. We are going to have my friend Tammy on, and she is going to show you how you can create books and bundle them with your products. So I know so many of you have wanted to do that. Definitely tune in today at sellerroundtable.com/live in 1 hour and check that out. Or you can go to facebook.com/Seller Roundtable. And we'll see you guys in 1 hour. Thanks again, Brish. And everyone, thanks for listening today. And check out Seller App, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Emmy. Thank you. Bye.